Hi, my name's Lauren Sapala. I'm the author of the INFJ Writer and the INFJ Revolution. I'm launching a video course soon on intuitive writing, and I wanted to answer some of the biggest questions I get about intuitive writing before I launch the course. I get emails all the time from INFJ writers and INFP writers asking me about the method and how they can start using it. So I want to give you a few quick tips and tricks now that you can use even if you decide not to buy the course, that will actually help you move forward immediately with intuitive writing. So first of all, I'll say the biggest question I get from INFJ and INFP writers is, why is this method going to work for me when nothing else has before? In the last video, I talked about how almost every other writing program out there takes a mental approach. It's based in a rational approach. It's based in masculine energy. You decide the outcome, you decide your goals, and then you come up with this linear process of how you're going to get there. And when you fail, or you seem to be having trouble, you just drive yourself harder, you beat yourself up, and you push yourself harder to achieve that desired result. Intuitive writing is not like that. Intuitive writing is actually the exact opposite. Intuitive writing, the method I've designed, uses feminine energy. So instead of pushing ourselves, we open ourselves and see what we are pulled towards. We are co-creating the book with our characters. We are co-creating the memoir with our higher self, or our essence, or our soul, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. But it's not just us alone. It's not just us driving ourselves, this little person who has to be in control all the time. It's opening ourselves up to a higher force and more help out there than we could ever imagine. So in the last video, I mentioned that this video, I want to talk about something you can do immediately to deepen your relationship with your characters. If you've been working on a novel and it feels like your characters have shut down, maybe in the beginning they were talking to you a bunch and now they're not talking to you so much anymore, or maybe you feel like you're pushing them in a direction they don't want to go, but you don't really know how to let them take the lead. You don't know how to get there. There's a couple really quick simple things you can do. So number one, in the intuitive writing process, we talk about connection orientation. This is a term I actually made up because I couldn't think of anything better to call it, but it's a phenomenon that needed a name. I've worked with so many writers over the years, and when we really start digging into their character relationships, the first thing I try to identify is the character's connection orientation. There are three big ones. The first one is direct. If your character has a direct connection orientation, that usually means they are aware of you as the writer. They are aware that you are an outside presence. Sometimes they literally know you're the writer writing their story. Other times they just feel an outside presence, but they know that you're there. They will most of the time talk directly to you. They will most of the time be very eager to share their story. Once they realize that you're there, they'll say, oh yeah, I have a lot to tell you. They might even say, like, get out of the way, like, let me take over the pen and just write my story. They can be very pushy and aggressive. You usually get direct access to their thoughts. You might even see them. You might see them like appear in front of you as an image or in your mind, but they're very clear. It's a very strong connection. When you have a direct connection orientation, the work will go much easier if you just kind of give up and let yourself act as a channel for the character and write in first person. It's very easy to write in first person when you have this kind of connection with a character. The second one is called passenger. If you have a passenger connection orientation with your character, that usually means that you are inside their head and you have access to a lot of their thoughts. Maybe not all of them, but you do have access to much of what is going on inside of their head. That doesn't mean they know you're there. A lot of the time they won't realize that you are a passenger riding along in their head. They'll just be going about their day-to-day lives. They might sense something that is a little off, but much of the time they don't know that you're there as they do in a direct connection orientation. And you will usually be able to see things out of their eyes. You will be able to, it's like you're literally inside their head, in their skull, looking out from their eyes, and you can look around at their reality and you can see what's going on. This can be really helpful if you get stuck, if you hit a roadblock in the process. I always say, like, use the character as a movie camera. Look around, what do you see? Write down what you see going on in their reality. The third one is witness. And a lot of writers really I won't say they hate this one, but they're sometimes a little disappointed if their character comes in with a witness orientation. Witness is, they don't know you're there. They're not talking directly to you. You're not in their head. You are outside of them and you are observing them. And that's mostly what you get. You get this daily observation of their lives. However, this can be a really helpful one. If you identify quickly that your character has a witness connection orientation, you can just go with it and flow with it and really transcribe what they're doing day by day and pick up those clues and follow them to see what their story is. One of the big things that crops up for writers here is they get impatient. They say, well, she's not doing much. She just goes to this coffee shop every morning. I don't know why I'm writing this down. I always say, trust the story, trust your character. Even if you're in a witness orientation connection with a character, they are still showing you things. They are still giving you information. All of these pieces will come together in time. There's a reason that you're seeing your character go to the coffee shop every morning. It is important. So those are the 3 different connection orientations. I will say also, I have never seen a character come in with a certain orientation and the writer be able to change it, however much they might want to. A writer might say, like, I just want to write in first person. I want more information. And they try to push the character in that direction. It's like, it's not happening. It's their orientation. It's what they were born with. It's how they came into this reality. It's going to go much easier for you if you just work with it rather than if you try to change it. The second thing that can really blow the doors off the writing process for writers intuitively, when they say, I really want to deeply connect with my characters, I feel like our emotional connection is a little weak and I've been maybe pushing them around and making them do things they didn't want to do. I say, ask yourself one question. Do you have love for the character? And usually writers pause and they say, I've never thought of that. Like, what do you mean? They're a made-up character. In the intuitive writing process, we do not treat characters as made-up people. We do not treat them as anything pretend. We treat them as real people who are sharing our hearts right now, sharing our minds, sharing our soul space, and we're working with them. It's very, very important to understand whether or not you have love for the character. If you don't, again, that's not an issue to be forced, but it is something to be aware of. In intuitive writing, we shift away from the achievement-oriented goal of finishing a manuscript on a schedule usually, to relationship-oriented, building a relationship with the story and the characters, with ourselves and our creativity. It's all about building the relationship. If you are working with a character and you don't feel any love for them, and then things get hard, someone's going to walk away in that relationship. It's just like in real life. You have to have love in order to have that relationship be sustainable over the long term. Love is what will get you through when things get sticky and hard, when things get uncertain and you don't know where they're going, or you get scared, or the character gets scared. You're going to have that love for them. It's very, very important to identify if you have that love for them. If you do love your character, then, all bets are off. All possibilities are open. You can go anywhere. This story is going to happen. You can trust in the magic of it. So that's a really, really good thing to know. And that's something we work with deeply in the intuitive writing practice. So this is intuitive writing, a bit of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more material. As I said in the last video, I teach live classes on this, and the live classes, I always have to put a cap on them. I really wanted this to be accessible to everybody in a format that people could do on their own. So you could do one lesson once a week or one lesson once a month, whatever works for you. But I really have seen such a change and transformation for INFJ and INFP writers when they shift away from rational writing methods, which is pretty much everything that's out there online today, to the intuitive writing method, which is completely and totally different and accesses a different part of your mind, and it accesses a different part of you and your creativity. So it's working with your creativity, it's working with your characters or your memoir, your writing work in a way that you've never worked with it before. It's incredibly powerful. It will shake your writing life to the core. I have seen this happen, and that's why I'm saying this with such authority. I've seen this happen literally with hundreds of INFJ and INFP writers. It totally changes their world, and it changed my world. I used to be a desperate writer who was just hurting all the time because I felt like I couldn't finish anything and I failed at everything. This changed everything. Once I embraced the way I work as an INFJ writer, it changed everything. I am going to be offering the course at a deeply discounted price for a limited time once I launch in just a few days. So if you want to get that discount price, make sure you are checking your emails if you're on my email list. If you're not on my email list, please get on it. I'm at laurensapala.com, LaurensApala.com. My sign up box is right in the sidebar. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you visit my website for all the details. I'm going to be posting on my blog about it. I'm going to be posting on my Twitter. If you have questions, please feel free to email me, writecitySF@gmail.com, WRITECITYSF@gmail.com. Or, shoot me a tweet, or message me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook. Please get a hold of me if you have questions. I really want to answer all the questions you have before you have the chance to buy it, because it's only going to be at that discounted price for a few days, and then it's going to go up. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave them below. Email me. Until then, I will see you for our next video, in which I'm going to be talking about some of the psychological roadblocks that intuitive writers deal with and that can really block them from moving ahead with their writing work. Until then, thanks so much.